Hello and welcome to Study Abroad UK Insight series. I am your host Amit Chaturvedi. Today we have got experts who will talk about UK as a destination and their experiences. What makes UK as a favorite destination for students to study abroad?
UK has been recognized as academically very strong.
What are the kind of typical internships which students have?
Very good internships are available.
So stay tuned for more information. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Study Abroad Inside UK series. I am your host Amit Chaturvedi, and today we have Devesh Anand with us, who is from University of Bristol. Devesh is the country advisor for university based out of Delhi in India, and it's a pleasure to have you, Devesh, with us.
Thank you for having me here, Amit.
And today's conversation, of course, will try and highlight the concerns which students have and of course seek answers from Devesh. From his experience, he has been an alumni of a university in UK, and of course he has a lot of experience of meeting, talking to students and counseling students and guiding them to make good choices to study in UK as destination. So we'll take some questions which we have from students and from what we thought will be good inputs for our students, and we'll start with question number one.
Sure.
Right. So if you can just tell us a little more before we start about yourself, your role in India, and kind of interactions you come across with students.
Sure. So I'm based in Delhi, like you mentioned, and I look after the University of Bristol.
Right.
My key responsibility areas include interacting with students and also developing our network within the country.
Right.
We also look at fostering relationship with institutions in terms of research collaborations. I do travel quite a lot, so I meet wonderful students.
Yeah.
And I think the key thing that I really enjoy about my job is that finding out all the new things that are happening in the UK, which are research intensive, and then coming and sharing that with students that we end up meeting, and then also to see their aspirations come to life.
What do you think, why students want to study abroad?
There are quite a few motivating factors for students, I feel. One of them is students are getting a good quality of education abroad, and I think that is something that they aspire to, so that is one factor. Second is also in the recent years it has become affordable for them.
Right.
Many universities are giving scholarships, and also banks and institutions here have opened up a lot of education loans.
Right.
Plus the spending power of the people have gone up in the economy
That's
as
true.
well.
That's
so
true.
something that was aspirational earlier is quite achievable now. I think a lot of students go out. They're
Right.
also looking at the opportunities that they get abroad in terms of the network they build and also the kind of industry integration they get.
We of course understand that there are many choices for students. So what makes UK as a favorite destination for students to study abroad?
I think UK has been recognized as academically very strong. So quite a few of the UK universities are amongst the world's best. Also what UK specifies, especially the top league universities, is research orientation. So they are forward thinkers. They will go ahead and integrate very well with the industries, and students benefit from that as well.
Do you think UK as a destination is more affordable compared to the other choices students have?
In initial glance, it may look expensive when you look at the fees of the universities, but then when you look in the long run, the UK education is 3 years, except for Scotland, which is 4 years. But in majority, if you're finishing your bachelor's in 3 years and a master's in 1 year, you're saving up 1 year of your fees plus your living expense. So in the long run, it works out much more affordable. The second aspect is also universities give a lot of scholarships, and also the UK government, so they promote scholarships quite extensively for the students.
So which are the most popular courses, especially in this part of the world, which
Right.
students opt to study in UK?
So from India, traditionally, engineering, management, law, and medicine have been the key programs that students like to study abroad for. But within the last few years, we've seen a very big growth in diversification. So they have programs like film and television that have picked up, journalism has picked up, biomedical sciences, where students at the undergraduate level are also going for stem cell regeneration and cancer research. And then there are also English literature and programs like liberal arts. They're picking up quite extensively.
And any program which you think may come up in next couple of years?
So data sciences, I think, is the key and buzzword. So that is something that a lot of Indian students are getting into. Also, they're looking into programs like accounting and finance and specializations within management as well, like program management and operations management, and also programs like marketing. So those are coming up quite extensively.
So considering that a student who is interested to study abroad and wishes to kind of understand more and comes and talks to you, what is that you look at in terms of while screening a student?
I think UK primarily goes about academics as a major requirement. So we would look at the academics of a student to gauge the eligibility for an institution. But we also give a holistic approach to it. So their personal statement becomes very important. We want to see that they have work experience that's done as part of their course. If they have worked in the area that they are studying in, that adds value to them. Apart from that, also what kind of activities they have been engaged in, because universities in the UK do want their student to be successful.
You mean extracurricular or?
Extracurriculars,
yeah.
yes,
Okay.
definitely. More importantly, we also see, apart from the activities itself, what skills have they picked up as part of those activities, and how those skills will help them get success in the university.
So before we move further, if we can understand a little more in terms of your institution, your university, if you can talk a little more about your university.
Yeah, sure. So I represent the University of Bristol. Now it is a very highly ranked university. It is currently ranked as number 49 in the world. So it's a world top 50 university. It has a very strong legacy as well because it was opened up in 1846. It's also within the UK ranked amongst the top 3 for engineering and top 5 for the School of Economics. What we also benefit from is the city of Bristol, because the city of Bristol itself is a business hub and also a manufacturing hub. Because we are a research-led university, we do engage extensively with these companies, and the students benefit from that as well.
Great. Anyone who is coming in primarily to study at the university or otherwise UK as a destination, which are the primary intakes for students to come in and study in UK?
So for UK, the main intake will be September, which is the largest intake for all universities. Some universities will also offer an intake in January as well as in May, but it's always recommended to students to look up the universities because not all programs will be available on those intakes. So if they're planning ahead, we generally guide them to plan 1 year in advance to start looking at the universities that they want to apply to and also look at the key intakes and the availability of the programs.
So you mean to say about 80% or more students look at September intake?
Yes.
And balance about 20% would go in the other intakes
For
like
January
in January
or for
or
May.
in month of May.
For postgraduate students, it is quite open because that's run on a rolling year basis.
Right. What's the typical duration of a undergraduate program in UK?
So undergraduate in UK typically will be a 3-year program if it is in UK itself, but in Scotland it will be 4 years. Some programs may also have a sandwich year option, which is a placement year or a study abroad. So that becomes a 4-year or could come up to 5 years as well, depending on the requirements of a student.
So 5-year is for a specific program or it is?
So it will include an integrated master's.
Right.
So students can complete a master's in 5 years plus get 1 year of work experience as well.
And a typical postgraduate program?
Postgraduate would vary between 1 to 2 years. So if they're going in for a regular postgraduate, it will be a 1-year program. If they're going for an MBA, it could be a 2-year program. Some universities also offer 1+1, which is a year of study as a year of work experience as well.
And of late, we have been coming across a lot of programs which have built-in internships for students who are interested to study abroad.
Yes.
So what are these internships?
So generally at the undergraduate level, these will be internships that are built into the summer year as well, which could be the last 3 months of their course every year. Also, they could have a year in industry, which could be the paid internship or also experiential internship. With regards to postgraduates, generally they would have a 1-year internship built into the program in some universities, but that could not be a guaranteed internship as well. So that's always good for the student to check with the university to see whether it's a guaranteed or a internship that they have to locate themselves.
Of course, for a student who is planning to study abroad, will invest a decent amount of money in the education.
Yes.
And the accreditations play a role. So what are the common key accreditations which UK universities have, and if you can just throw some more light on them?
Certainly. So the accreditation for the students become very important. Now these are accreditations that could be global as well, which could be similar to AIA or the ICAW, which are for accounting and finance. They could also be UK specific, like the BPS, which is for psychology, and also certain accounting and finance specialists for the UK itself. But also they need to be aware of how their program is recognized in India as well. For students who want to come back to India, they need to have accreditation from MCI as well as the Bar Council of India if they want to practice law here.
Since as you earlier said, business programs and the engineering programs are very popular, any accreditation to do with the business programs?
Yes, so AMBA is the accreditation for the MBA, so that could be a global accreditation as well.
And you spoke about the financial programs as well.
Yes, accounting and finance.
Right. And another key aspect is, of course, the tuition fee.
Yes.
So what's an average tuition fee for undergraduate and a postgraduate program in UK?
So the good thing in the UK is that there are a range of universities available. So they are, of course, the Russell Group universities and then the modern universities. The fees could range between the universities. So they could start off as low as about £7,000 per year, which is about 7 lakhs per year, and could go up to about 22 to 25 lakhs per year as well. It would also depend on the kind of program a student is studying. So that could range from lab-based programs, which could be management or accounting or arts-based subjects, and then engineering or medicine programs, they could be the most expensive. So medicine itself would be about 45 to 50 lakhs per year.
Okay, that's expensive.
That is, but the quality of education is quite good as well.
Yes. And for a 3-year program or a 4-year program, as you mentioned, the sandwich programs are there. So a student is supposed to pay for the 4th year as well for the sandwich program, or
no, so when they do the sandwich year, the 3rd year becomes the sandwich year. Now, during that year, they don't have to pay any fees. They only pay 10% of the fees as part of the handling charges. But they do get the option of going in for a paid placement as well, where they could earn like a full-time employee. It's also a very good option for them because they're spending a year in the industry, and the industry gets to see how they are performing. And in most cases, those students get absorbed by that industry once they complete their course.
One more thing which is very critical for students who want to study abroad are scholarships. So, of course, the university would offer scholarships. There are scholarships which possibly are offered by other bodies, government bodies, and some private organizations. So, if you can just talk more about these scholarships.
So, the good thing about the scholarships in the UK is that most universities have a very generous portfolio. Also, their website is the best resource to go onto because that's the most updated resource. Scholarships are available as part of the university scholarship funds, and they could be program specific or they could be for extracurriculars or also in generic. They could also be scholarships that are industry partners for the universities. Like, for example, Bristol has a partner with Tata in India, and Tata last year supported 3 of our Indian students with 50% tuition fee waivers. There are also organizations like the British Council that give a lot of scholarships. This year they had a STEM scholarship for the girls from India, wherein 70 girls are getting selected to give 100% scholarships as well. And then, of course, there's Chevening, Commonwealth that are run throughout the year. So very good scholarship portfolio, but again, the key there is to apply early and not miss any deadlines.
And is there any financial assistance offered by the university to students?
So university for international students would give financial assistance through scholarships, and that would be a generic portfolio. But with regards to students, they have very good opportunities within India itself. They can get government scholarships as well. The Indian government supports a lot of students. There are also some scholarships which are loan-based scholarships, but they are interest-free loans, so they can avail of that as well.
We spoke earlier about the internships, and internships are, of course, one of the most sought after and interested area for students to explore more because they get a chance to experience. So what are the kind of typical internships which students have, or the universities are kind of helping them to get these internships?
So universities have very good associations with the industry. It's definitely important for the student to go ahead and see what kind of associations are there and choose the university accordingly. Students have had wonderful experiences in the UK as well. Like, for example, there was a student who studied economics and he wanted to get into policy making. Based on that, he got experiences with United Nations, with the World Bank, with MSF and Oxfam as part of his course. And then once he finished his course, he got picked up by KPMG as a consultant. So very good internships are available. If a student is studying law, they could get internships with lawyers itself to be the underwriters for them. They could also do moot court experiences with other universities. They could also go in and work for charities. And a lot of options are there. The good thing about the UK is that you're also not restricted to work only in the campus. While the campus has options like student ambassador and ambassador for your labs and the library, but you could also explore internships outside of the university.
And these internships are paid by the organizations?
Mostly they would be paid, but some could also be experiential. Like if you're getting an internship with the United Nations or the World Bank, they could be purely for experience.
The typical duration of these internships, as you said, at times 3 months or could be a year?
So 3 months would be as part of their summer vacation. Mostly students who are international stay back during the summertime every year and do their 3-month summer internship, which are paid placements as well. Otherwise, there could be a year which is built into their program.
Good. So that was more in terms of talking about the intakes and the scholarships. Let's talk about the other aspects which are more practical for the students in terms of where they live and where they kind of eat and how they travel and all. So how convenient it is for students who travel all the way from any part of the world to UK,
Right.
to be staying within the campus or outside campus, and if you can throw more light about these experiences or these challenges.
So we've had wonderful experiences as well. We've met students who have been so pampered that they've not had a glass of water by themselves. But here we've had students within the 6 months that they've been in the UK, they've gone back home and made a 4-course meal for their parents as well. So that's the kind of growth we've seen. Good thing is that every university will have university accommodation, and generally for international students it's also a guaranteed accommodation as long as they're following the deadlines for applications. If they do want to look for private accommodations, then we assist them in helping with that as well. One piece of advice we give to students who are looking for private accommodations is to take a consolidated view of the accommodation, that all the bills should be included. They should not have a scope of surprise that when they get the bill, then they are charged separately for utilities and others. So these are things that they have to factor in. Generally, the accommodation in the university will be quite close to the campus as well. So it could be a 2 to 10 minutes walk from the campus. And in the first year, it is advisable to go in for a university accommodation because they also tend to meet with a lot of students, not necessarily from their own course. So this way they can network and build up friends as well.
You spoke about international students being guaranteed accommodation. So what are the timelines for them to ensure that they have a guaranteed accommodation?
So generally it would be June of the year that they're going to be starting in. So May to June are the key months that they have to watch out for. Every university, when they apply and they get the offer from them, they will be given a notification that start booking your accommodation. Accommodations usually open up at a certain time of the year, and they have to be the first applicants and follow the deadline so that you're given the first priority as well.
So the places they stay are like shared accommodation, or they have the kitchens and all around, or how does it work?
So that's the benefit for the students, because every university will offer them different options, and accordingly the charge for it will vary. If they go in for a shared accommodation which has no meals included in it, that would be at the lowest band of the charge. And then it could go up to a studio apartment where they have a kitchen and a bathroom in their room itself, which could be the highest fare for that stay. So depending on the choice of a student, they have all the options available.
You mentioned about students preferring to stay near the campus and kind of saving on the travel time. But generally, what is the cost of travel from, say, if they're in the city center to the university campus or somewhere else within the city as such?
So if they're living in the city of London, there's very good commute there as well through the London Underground. Also, if they're living in cities outside of London, like Bristol, Leeds, Nottingham and the others, the city center is quite close to the university, so they'll have very good options of connectivity. The other benefit is that students get a very good discount as well. So they have a student card that they get, and almost the travel goes to half the cost of what is charged to the regular people. We do encourage a lot of students to walk and take cycles as well, so that is a good activity for them to do too.
Generally, I mean, as we spoke about students living or sharing accommodation, do they find groceries easily available, or they have to struggle to find their choice of groceries around?
Very easily available. In fact, I have a joke with my students that in Bristol we also have a Agarwal Sweets and a grocery shop and some dhabas there as well. So there's a large Indian community within the UK in every city, and it's spread out quite extensively. So it's very easy to source groceries, spices, Indian cooked food as well. The other factor is that also a lot of UK people are getting into the vegan trend, and most of them are converting into veganism. So a lot of vegetarian options are available for students.
Once a student comes into the campus and they want to make themselves comfortable, what are the activities which university would support in terms of either a cultural activity or otherwise to make them feel at home?
Right. So I think every university in the UK will start activities from the start itself, wherein students, when they become confirmed offer holders, they will try to include them into groups where they can interact with each other and start making friends even before they come into the university. Universities will also have a meet and greet at the airport and certain welcome weeks, so that those who are traveling for the first time to the country are not left stranded. There's somebody there to meet them at the airport and then guide them to the university. During the welcome week, which is usually the first week of the course start date, there'll be a lot of activities. So they'll have culture clubs where they can sign up for different clubs, which could be sports clubs or dance societies or debating societies. They'll also have a lot of freshers parties that they can attend. For instance, in Bristol, we have the mayor of Bristol who throws a ball for the freshers, and all students are invited to attend that and make friends there. There are also a lot of tours that are organized for students to show them around the locality. And they are also buddied up with students from the senior sections, so that, and generally nationalities are matched, so that they get very good acquaintance of the city as well, where to do their shopping from, where to do their washing from, and also what kind of temples, gurdwaras and others are there that they can visit.
You spoke about meet and greet service. So a student has to kind of pre-book it, or it's like someone is there at the airport and they just arrive in?
Right. So it would always be at a certain time of the year, and the meet and greet by the university is advised to the students that it is only happening during this time of the year. They will have to pre-book, so it's always good to pre-book it, because then they are aware that you're arriving and they can look out for you. Otherwise, if you're not booking it and you're walking in, they will still be there to meet you, but then it will be up to you to find who there is. Whereas if they have pre-booked it, then the person will look out for them.
The other element of this entire facet is like students who land into a new country, they start their education, but at the same time they also plan to work either part-time or something to gain experience
Yes.
in terms of working in an international destination. So what kind of part-time work is available for students who come into UK and study?
So the current visa regulations for the students is that they can work 20 hours per week during their term time, and during the holidays they can work up to 40 hours per week. It is good for the students to start working within a month of joining. Generally we advise, especially the postgraduate students, to do that, to take a month to settle down into their campus and get used to the routine, and after that start looking for an opportunity. Now, part-time work can be arranged by the university as well. Every university has a career center and they can help the students get that. Some of the opportunities will be available within the university itself, where they can become accommodation managers, they can become managers within cafes and restaurants. They can also become part of the student union societies and run their own clubs. Apart from that, we guide them to go ahead and look at working with employers. That is always encouraged, especially for the undergraduate students and also for the postgraduates. The good resource for them would be the faculty. Now, many of the recognized universities have very good research links with industries. So students are always guided to use those links and get industry insights. Also, alumni are a very good resource of a university, and these are alumni who are very well placed in organizations. Students are encouraged to interact with them, and if they have a specific goal in mind, they can then look to see who's working in that industry and then get connected to them.
Of course, you have given a lot of options for students to kind of find jobs, but is it really easy to find part-time job?
It depends on the city that they're in as well. Also, it becomes a key factor for them when they're selecting a university. Each time they select a university, they also have to see how integrated that university is with the city and what kind of opportunities are there. If you're in a remote part of the country which does not have any industry, it will be very hard for you to get a good internship. But at the same time, if you're in a city which has a lot of industries, it is quite easy for you to get an option. Also, many students feel that if they go to London specifically, it'll be a wonderful world of opportunities for them. But they also have to keep in mind that they will be facing a lot of competition. So these are things that a student has to keep in mind before selecting a destination.
So you mean to say if they are in a relatively a smaller city than London, they may have more opportunities for part-time work?
Because the competition will be less. So definitely, it's always good for them to also connect with current students who are there at the university to find out what kind of opportunities they're doing and see how, gauge that what will be the opportunity for them through that.
So in the course of their program, when they are in the UK as a destination, what are the timings when they can work full-time? Is it the vacations or otherwise? And generally, do they find work in their interest area, or it is like somewhat compromise for students?
So with regards to working full-time, they could do it during December, which is the Christmas vacation they get for about 2 to 3 weeks, and also during Easter, where they get a break for about 2 weeks, and then also during the dissertation submission, which is from June till August. So they'll be allowed to work full-time at that time, and of course the post-study stay back, so when they're there. They have to start planning early. Ideally, the good thing for them to do is start looking out for companies that they want to work with and start working part-time with them, so that when it comes to the full-time work, they can switch over to the full-time work as well. The other thing that I do advise my students to do is that look at the companies that have a right to sponsor international students. If you do want to stay back in the UK, what happens is once you complete your course, you need a sponsorship letter from the company that can sponsor your legal stay in the country, and also get a salary that pays you at least £21,000. Now, these are the two factors to convert to a work visa. Students who start planning early can start looking at these companies from the beginning itself. So if they already have a short list of key companies that they want to target, it becomes easier for them to approach them and also use the university to approach them.
I've also heard about the concept of job shops at the campuses. So if you can share some more insights around it.
So universities do offer a lot of services. They would offer career fairs within the university itself. For example, Bristol, we're the second most targeted UK university in the country. So every year we have 2 career fairs that are happening in November and May, which will have at least 100 to 200 employees that will come to meet the students. Similarly, other universities will have similar things as well. There are also job fairs that are program specific. So there could be a job fair for law, for biomedical sciences, where only those companies come in. So students have to be proactive in this. Many universities also offer apps now for students, and every time there's something happening, an activity, they will get a notification that this is the career fair that's going to happen soon, register for it. So they have to be proactive in doing those.
So generally, out of your experience, if you can say, what is the percentage of students who are finally able to find good part-time and full-time work when they are in UK?
So there's a recent report that has come out from the UK government, and they have shown that in conversion to the work visa, Indian students have been the highest. They're ranked as number 1, and they've all within the last year they've had 56,000 people getting the work visa. So that's a very big chunk. They've also seen a growth in that numbers. When we do look at placements and getting full-time opportunities, STEM subjects do very well. So students doing engineering and specific skills in data sciences or actuarial sciences, and also in specific areas like corporate law, have good opportunities. Students doing management, generally, as a university, when I look at Bristol, we have about 80 to 85% of undergraduate students who do get employed in the UK. But generally, this would be a generic skill. We would recommend students to go in for specific skills, especially at the postgraduate, looking at project management or operations management, or even marketing, wherein better opportunities are there.
What is that you suggest or advise to students who want to work? Should they work on their CVs, or should they work closely with the student unions, or do something else? So any tips you want to give to prospective students who have to come into UK to study, at the same time would like to work?
So I would say that have a look at the city and see what kind of opportunities are there. Make a target list of the companies that you want to work with from the beginning itself, so that when you come into the university, utilize the university services. Every university has very good research links. They also have direct corporate links, and they also have the alumni that are working for these companies. So it's multiple ways that the student can be connected to them, but it's only how proactive the student is. We've had wonderful students who've been very, very active, and they've gone on to do very good opportunities. There have been other students who've not been active at all, and at the end of the year, they come and say, you know, how can I do now? By then, it's a bit too late. You have to start early, because if a company has to sponsor a student, they also have to take a guarantee of that student. So they need to know that they've seen the student working and they are able to trust that student, and that can only happen once they've been working with them for a duration of time. That's why specifically for the postgraduate students who come in for 1 year, we tell them at least get about 8 to 9 months of work experience with the company, because that way the company can then be sure to sponsor you.
I've heard a lot in terms of the engagement of students at the Students' Union. So what's the kind of support Students' Union offered to students?
Now, many student unions have student clubs as well, and they're the ones responsible for inviting industry people to come in as well. Like for example, at Bristol, we have an insight session that happens every Wednesday or every alternate Wednesday, wherein an industry person comes and takes a session with the students. This is a very good network opportunity for the students as well, to be involved and meet up with the industry person and see what kind of opportunities they have within their domains. Also, the student union societies organize job shops, like you mentioned, wherein you can have insight sessions into industries, get some work opportunity or even internships, which may not be paid, but you will have experience of working in those companies.
So tell me, Devesh, why is that Indian students want to study in UK?
I think the major motivation for the Indian students is because of the academic strength of the universities in the UK. Many of the universities in the UK are amongst the world's best, so I think a lot of students aspire to study in them. Also, the kind of networks they build are quite immense. Universities are very diverse, so they'll have students as well as faculty from all over the world, and these are things that students look forward to build networks that they will help them throughout their life as well. I would also say the spending power of the Indian economy is going up, so what was first aspirational has now become quite achievable as well. So a lot of students, things that were distant to them have now become achievable, and those who are working very hard and scoring good grades do aspire to study in world-leading universities.
So I have got some frequently asked questions which I know students would like to have short and quick answers.
Yes.
So kind of a rapid fire. So my first question is, when should a student start planning to apply at UK University?
I would say UK works 1 year in advance. So if you're planning to start off in a year, start planning 1 year in advance of that. Chiefly because a lot of scholarships are also available with the universities, and those have deadlines to follow.
Which are the top 2, 3, 4 critical documents they have to keep in mind when they make an application?
So definitely when we look at a student, we look at the 10th mark sheet, we do look at the 12th grades, and also if they're applying for a postgraduate, we look at the undergraduate marks. Since they're applying 1 year in advance, they would need all the grades that they have till then. So based on that, they should make an application.
Because rankings are critical, so where is that a student can find the right rankings for UK universities?
So many rankings are available in the market. So there is the Times ranking, there's the Guardian as well as the QS. Each ranking is based on the requirements of a student, so definitely look up those. I would say go in for a QS ranking, which is the most reliable because it also looks into the research capability of an institution. And wherever an institution is highly ranked in terms of research, they will have very good collaborations both with the industry as well as the government, which opens up a lot of avenues for students.
And how critical is an SOP or an LOR for a student?
Very, very important. The statement of purpose helps us in gauging the student. Few things that they have to be careful about. One is that they should not look at a general SOP or copy a SOP from anywhere. Every university has systems that look at plagiarism, and if we get to know a student has copied the SOP, it automatically gets rejected. Second is also when we look at the SOP, we are not only looking at it from the admission point of view, but we're also gauging to see if we can give the student a scholarship. So the more impressive they are with their SOP, the better they can get. Also, we see a lot of SOPs that start with very simple statements like Gandhiji quoted this. We've read 1,000 of those, so we don't want to see that again. We want to see as a person what motivates you. So the more personalized it can become, the better it is for the student.
So a unique SOP.
Very unique, yes,
And
but
how about
customized
the
to the student.
letter of recommendations?
Letter of
They play a role?
recommendations, yes, they are very important as well. At the undergraduate, we need 1 letter of recommendation. At the postgraduate, generally 2 are required. One has to be from the academic, definitely. The other one can be, if they have any work experience, they can get one from them as well.
You mentioned about students applying a year before. So what do you think students should be doing or should do after they've made the application?
Now, once they've made the application, one of the key things to do is start looking up scholarships. Once they receive their conditional offer from the university, they'll be able to start applying for those. Many of the Indian government funding do close early. So they will close as early as December and January for a September start program. So that's why they have to look at those. Also, they can start preparing for the course. They can see what are the kind of additional things that can be helpful for them once they come into the UK. Start also looking at what kind of companies are there that are in the destination they're going to, so that they can start seeing how they can create a plan for themselves.
What are the broad 2, 3, 4 key challenges which students should be prepared for before they land into UK?
One of the key things would be a culture shock. So though the students have traveled to the UK or they've been exposed to the UK culture through television and movies, but again, living it themselves could be one of the shocks. So be prepared for that. Be very open-minded. You are there to get an experience of an international destination. So do interact with a lot of people. Don't become shy and stick to your circle. Also, go ahead and talk to your faculty. Go and travel around, because traveling also opens up a lot of avenues for students. They get to learn quite a lot. And also be very open to getting experiences. So even if you're getting a part-time work which is not paid, do it for the sake of experience, because the skills you develop from part of it will be very valued in the UK.
Okay, last before we close, any tip on the weather in UK?
The weather. So weather is very diverse in the UK as well, starting from the south of England, where in south and southwest, which is London and Bristol specifically, would be quite rainy. So do cater for that. Do carry an umbrella or a raincoat. As you travel up north, it starts getting colder as well. During specific times of the year, the sunset is also quite early in the day. So at 3 o'clock, you could have the sunset and you could have dark shadows. So be prepared for that. Some students also have requirements, specific requirements, like they're allergic to certain things like pollen grains or to sunlight, and they have to factor that in as well when they're selecting a destination to choose.
Devish, tell me something about, especially for the parents, because they're always concerned about the safety of their
Yes.
kids. So how safe it is for boys and girls who come into UK to study and live in?
So as a destination, UK is very safe. There could be different universities that have different options available for the students. Generally, the university accommodations will have a warden and a deputy warden stationed there 24 hours a day. So they will be the first point of contacts. Universities also do patrol service. So in case a student is traveling out in the night and they get stuck somewhere, they can also call up the university numbers that are given and they can be brought back to the campus. So many universities offer this service. Generally, health and well-being is taken very seriously also. Like I can talk with example from Bristol. Every student is appointed a personal tutor who looks after the academic strength and the academic progression of a student. But every student is also given free counseling service. Anytime when they're living, it could be a time when they are first-time movers out of the house and they've not lived previously without their parents. So sometimes they could feel the need to talk to someone or be associated with someone. And for that, we have counseling support given to them as well.
I heard there are some homestay options as well.
Yes, so many universities do offer that as well, where students are paired up with families who are ready welcome to welcome the students into their homes.
Since you represent the University of Bristol, any success story of an Indian student you want to share with us?
Yes, we've had many successful students, and the one that I can immediately think of is also a student from IDP. She was Kalyani, who came to us last year. In fact, she graduated in September, and very, very wonderful student because she was very proactive in engaging with the faculties and also with research. When she graduated in September, she had 2 job offers in hand already. She came to study electronic systems engineering at a master's level. And while she was deciding which offer to take, she got a 3rd offer from the university to do a fully funded PhD. And she's gone in for that option. So again, that showed us that how engaged a student can be because she was a very active student. She engaged not just with the faculty and also the industry insights that were coming in, but also in terms of student union society. She was a president of a student club as well. So the ones who are more visible are the ones who get very good opportunities.
Earlier we spoke about the co-curricular initiatives for students. And of course, cricket is a common connect.
Yes.
So, do you or other universities have the cricketing clubs, or the students are encouraged to kind of engage with a lot of sports and what?
A lot. So every university will have very good sporting societies that they can be a part of, ranging from cricket, football to basketball. Cricket, of course, like you mentioned, is a very good connect between India and UK with regards to the World Cup that happened recently as well. That's in fact one of the key reasons why UK is such a favored destination as well, because a lot of people travel there as well. The UK report that I was mentioning earlier also mentioned last year itself 500,000 people from India travel to the UK on a visitor visa. So that's the kind of inflow that happens. Specifically with regards to sports, at Bristol, we have something called as Performance Squad. It's a set of trainers that are there. And if a student is specifically talented, they can then show their talent to their team. And if they feel that's a talent that can be further developed, an entire training calendar will be made for them. And they will be trained on a regular basis and then put forward for competitions where they will compete with inter-university matches and also go on to play for leagues as well as get picked up by clubs. We've also had our students get picked up and participate in the Olympics, and they won 2 golds and a silver there as well. So that's the intensity of training given. Also, when we see that there is a talent in a student, we don't want it to be a financial burden on them as well. So training as well as all the equipment and competition entry fees all get sponsored by the alumni team. So in that way, the student can focus on their studies and also on their sports, and rest everything, mostly the universities will take care of.
Devish, my next question is to understand a little more in terms of what are the teaching methodologies which are adopted by academics in UK universities.
Right.
Is it more practical, classroom, or how is it? What's the mix?
So in the UK, there'll be a mix of lectures as well as seminars. When the students go in for a lecture, it could be all students from different classes coming together for that subject. So there could be a classes of about 100 to 175 students as well. And then they're broken up into seminar groups, which will be about 10 to 12 students per faculty. I've studied in India as well as in the UK, and in my personal experience, what I found was in the UK it works really well, because when you're studying a lecture in the lecture seminar, you're introduced to a concept. In the seminar group, you're asked to challenge that concept. Do you agree with it or do you disagree with it? And in case you say that I do not agree with the concept and you give a valid reason for it, they're very open to changing that concept as well. It's also complemented by projects for every module, which could be industry projects as well. Like for example, in Bristol, we do industry-based projects which are relevant to the industry. So a student, whatever they're learning in the classroom, also get to know how to apply that in the industry. And it's a thing that they learn for their life. So something that they've done practically, they'll not forget that.
I also want to understand from you students who make an application and who have a gap year.
Yes.
How are these applicants considered at the university?
What we gauge is what have they done within that gap year. So many students who take a gap year go on for travel, or they can also be preparing for competitive exams. As long as they're doing that, that's counted positive if they're able to show us the skills they picked up as part of it. If they do not mention anything they've done in the gap year, then we take it as negative because we see nothing related to the studies. Ideally, I would guide the students who are taking a gap year to see what program they're applying for and what are the skills required for that program. And during that year, if they've done any internships or they've done any projects, or even if they've competed or prepared for competitive exams, they would have picked up research skills, they would have picked up time management skills, they would have picked up their communication and team working skills, and all these can be very relevant to the subject they're going to be studying. So as long as they highlight that, it'll be valid for us.
Tell us something about the medical cover for the international students or the National Health Services which is prevalent in the UK.
Yes.
So how does it work for the international students?
So as part of the visa regulations, the student have to pay a IHS fees, which is for their insurance. Now, once that is paid and they come into the UK, they get registered with a GP. So when they're joining a university, every university has an association with the hospital, and they will be asked to go and register with the GP, which is the general practitioner. Anytime a student has any medical condition, they can take an appointment with the GP, and generally it will be a free of cost service because they've already paid the insurance. And any medication dispensed to them which is over the counter will be free of cost. If there are prescribed a medicine, then they may have to purchase that, but that is available all throughout. What we do guide our students is those who wear specs or have certain medical conditions and they need medications, do carry that with you, because at times medicine or spectacles or even contact lenses can be a little bit more expensive in the UK. So carry extra pairs with you. If they are bringing some medication into the UK, they also have to carry a prescription with them. Otherwise, they could be stopped at the customs and those could be taken off of them. But generally, medical conditions are treated very quickly in the UK.
Perfect. So that was fantastic to know a lot more in terms of what a student can look forward to when they are choosing UK as destination to study. So thank you very much for your insights.
My pleasure.
And really helpful. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And I hope our audience finds it as useful.
My pleasure as well. Thank you so much. And also, it's a wonderful initiative. So congratulations on getting all this information out for your students.
So that was it, audience, from our side today. Hope you find this interaction useful. For more details, do visit our website and do subscribe to our social media platforms. We look forward to your support. See you soon. Thank you.